Hello and welcome. My name is JodieLynn Craven, founder of Abundance Consciousness, and this is my great friend Heather Marie Smith, founder of Soulgate. And welcome to Channels Squared, where we have extraordinary conversations about real life things that matter to you. So before we hop into our topic today, I want you to get to know us a little bit better. So I'm going to kick it off to Heather. Heather, tell the world all about you, who you are, what you do, what's important to you, and we'll go from there.
Hi. Woo! This is exciting. So what do I do? Boy, that is a loaded topic. I'm to sum it up. To sum it up, I am a channel. I consciously channel. I trance channel guides, beings from the other side. Definitely not dead people, but you're you're good high level beings that are here to guide you on your path, send you off with good messages. In a nutshell, that's what I do. What is a trance channel? A trance channel is someone who can move their consciousness to the side and allow the being to speak directly through them. I would say that is really the nuts and bolts of what I have to offer. It allows you to speak directly with the beings that are here to guide you, and that I think is just priceless. So that's me in a nutshell. And, Jodie, I know that you are also a channel, which is why we are channeled squared. So
Yeah.
tell me exactly what you do and how you do it.
Oh. And I just have to throw in here that's yeah, there's so much more to you, Heather, and I'm excited for the world to get to know the real you and the real me and have these vulnerable, honest, open conversations. For me, I've spent a decade in financial services. Over the last 4 years, I've really leaned into my own channel, channeling my guides with abundance codes. So I have abundance consciousness where I teach people how to release the blocks that they have between them and money so they can have an abundant life. And I think that's what a lot of people want. So it is my passion to deliver the information. The way that I'm a little bit different in terms of channeling from Heather, I can trans channel, which we may do in the future a special event where we're both trans channeling, which would be really amazing.
Okay.
I typically consciously channel. And what I do is I look for abundance blocks when people are talking to me, they just kind of pop up and I download a ton of information. You'd call me an evidentiary channel. So I will get very specific, very detailed information about an overall picture. So it's lots of fun and it's my passion because it's difficult sometimes to see what is blocking you or the way that you perceive the world and to choose another vantage point. And that's what I'm great at. So that kind of sums me up. There's so much more that you're going to learn about both of us. We just want to have these honest conversations that are just like you're with your best friend. So we're going to be pretty relaxed and kind of chill throughout this, even though we're going to have very in-depth topics. We can talk about that at the end. We've been doing brainstorming and there's some pretty hot topics on there, including today. So let's dive in. Our topic today is positivity creation versus polarity and division. Wow, we're starting off with bang, like how to loop
Woo!
everything all together, right? Why not? Why not just delve right in? It's so interesting. Before Heather and I had popped on here, we were talking about this statistic that I saw on Instagram. Someone posted a poll and they had thousands of followers, and I think the handle was like perspective or something, and they usually show these beautiful pictures, and this one poll came up and it said, do you feel alone, yes or no? And I clicked on it and I clicked no because I personally feel like I have a huge support system in terms of family and friends, as well as this 5D guide team that comes along with me everywhere I go. But when I said no, the statistics popped up, and 62% of the people that answered the poll said yes, they do feel alone. And I think there's a lot going on in today's world, which, we can dive into, Heather and I. what we see that's going on, and how to keep that connection and that positivity. Heather, what do you think?
Well, I think that that is a really, I think that's a really sad thing. Like when you told me that, I just like a piece of me died inside because it's so it's so telling of like where everybody is at. You know, we have so much division and polarity and so much just negativity, and depending on, you know, what news sources you're watching or what videos that your social media, you know, how people in your circle is talking, you know, the various avenues that have been censored or, you know, manipulated in some way. We are definitely living in a world of contrary, aren't we? So I think that, you know, I can understand and I can see why people feel alone. It's like they're not being heard.
Yeah.
And that when you said that, I was kind of crushed because I just thought, gosh, how unfortunate that so many people feel this way. And so hopefully we can bring them some positivity and
Yes.
help them like channel back to the beautiful light that they truly are inside. So I
Mhm.
think that this is a perfectly timed topic.
Absolutely. And I think I agree with everything that you're saying, Heather. There has been a lot of this polarity or this duality, whatever word that you want to use, and I have found more now than ever this need for compassion, regardless of where people are at. You know, you can have a different opinion than I do, polar opposite opinion, in fact. And I think it's so important that we start talking about it openly with an open heart so that we can hear and feel other people's perspectives as well. Because I don't know about you, Heather, but that's how I learn. I grew up in a small community, very sheltered, you know. Uh, I lived on a farm, so you know, even like driving downtown in our million person city was like terrifying for me. I didn't know any better. And it wasn't until I had those experiences that I could do better. I could see things in a different way. And I'm so grateful for the people in my life that were open with me about what they have experienced in their life. And, you know, something that my dad always says to me is that you can say, "Oh, I understand what you're going through," but we truly don't, because even you and I, Heather, you know, you might have grown up in a smaller community as well, and you know, whatever, grew up in this country lifestyle like I did, and we both had very different experiences. I've never been in your shoes, and you've never been in mine, and I think that's why the world really needs to come together today to talk about these things and be open. So I'm excited about this conversation today.
Yeah,
Um,
well, and you know, I know that we both have talked, you know, many times about, you know, relationships and feeling alone in relationships. And I think that, you know, this place of polarity and discomfort that is anything that isn't joy and bliss and even just status quo, because even status quo in sometimes is a gift. You know, oh my gosh, everything is just normal right now. You know, woo, high five for normal. You know, as opposed to that, you know, lonely, feels like the world is caving in around you feeling. You know, I think that people really need to have compassion for one another and how they are experiencing life right now, because we
mhm.
really are in this crazy time of conflict. You know, I mean, if you look at the world and what we're hearing about the world, because, and you know, maybe is what we're hearing even true? Maybe not, you know.
I don't know. That's a good
Hopefully this doesn't get us banned from YouTube on day one.
question.
But you know, that's the truth, right? We really just don't even know if we can trust the information that we are receiving. And
Yeah, what's the
so
source of reference?
Exactly. So I think that, there is a lot of loneliness and disappointment and, just kind of like fear with what is happening right now in the world. And it doesn't have to be that way, right?
No.
We can be in a place of, I'm going to hold the space of openness, vastness, and love.
Mhm.
And I'm going to have compassion for those who are not in that place. And I choose to help raise the vibration of the people around me. And
Mhm.
that has that good ripple effect,
Yeah.
What is Kat saying here?
I feel like the pandemic wasn't the awakening. It shed light on all the other things that needed awareness. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And something else that I want to say, when the pandemic first broke out, I remember like it felt like a movie, sitting in my chair. At the time we were living with my father-in-law as we, built our home that we now live in. And I remember thinking, like, is this real life? And what's going on? And because I am empathic, which I think everybody is to a certain degree, and you can correct me if you feel like there's something different, but I feel like we feel everything, and I felt that. I felt the world shudder around me, and that made me feel scared. That made me feel angry. That made me feel all of these things. And I think when we talk about compassion, it's also about compassion for ourselves. Whatever you're feeling in this moment, honor that and know that it's not permanent, that it can move. And when you allow yourself to feel it, it can move through you. And I know for me at the beginning of this journey of, what happened 15 months ago or however long it was ago, I dove into so many other things, like Kat was saying in her message there, that it wasn't just about, the pandemic and what was going on, the world shutting down. It was, what else is going on that I'm not seeing or I'm not hearing? And I went down a lot of rabbit holes.
Yeah, I think we both did. And I think like, and I hear this from some of my clients, right? Is that I have such a mixed bag. I have some that were like, they jumped into personal development, they jumped into supporting the world, they jumped into family, they jumped into, oh shit, what do I do now? My business is closed. So there was so many different components that people were, grappling with. For me personally, when the pandemic first hit us, I guess, it was oh, hell no, not on my watch. And, I jumped into, how can I support? How can I help? Right. And then about 6 or 9 months in, I kind of went through this big like depression,
Mm.
and and I kept it very like, I don't know, what is the phrase? Under the cuff, close to the
Like
sleeve.
close to the chest. Yeah.
Right, whatever. It was buried. I was like, I am not letting anybody see that that I'm going through this right now. And it was very dark, it was very dark. And it was like everything that everyone had experienced early on, that fear, that not knowing what is happening right now. Even I went through it. And here I feel like I'm pretty tapped in to lots of light sources that can help to elevate my mood. But hey, I had a human too.
Yeah.
And in that moment, that darkness, it was really so transformative because I was able to really see, I changed the perspective of, do I choose to continue down this dark, deep place? Or do I start to see that little glimmer of light and bring myself out? And I choose light and I choose love. And it's that conscious choice and that perspective that like really anchored me through that period, because that was something. And I think a lot of the
Yeah.
world is kind of opening up, but I think that, we still have some of Europe is still sort of shut down. And I know you guys in Canada are
starting to open up.
closed. Or are you starting to open?
Yeah, it was sort of, yeah, different places, like different provinces are experiencing different things. And it's interesting what it's bringing to light. I would love to hear your opinion on when you're in that dark place, how do you find the light?
Oh man, it's not easy. It's not easy. You know, I mean, God, if it were easy, we would never be there, right? Like, why the hell would we go there? You know? So I think that, let's see, I'm having a little camera situation here for just a second.
That's okay.
I have a really ugly lamp right there that I don't want to show up. So I have a little piece of paper under my camera. And it was moving and I was like, oh no, they're going to see the ugly lamp. Now everybody knows about the ugly lamp. So that's great.
You're gonna have to show everyone at the end what the ugly lamp looks like.
Maybe we can get somebody to cut that out of the final result. No, I'm just teasing. At the end, I will show you the ugly lamp because now it's debuted in my commentary. But
Is the ugly
the
lamp
question was
part of finding the light? You just turn the light on.
seriously, you know, and it's actually kind of a cool lamp in the sense that it has a button on the floor. So like if you're like working away, you can just hit it with your floor and it turns the light on. But there's no light bulbs in it right now, so I will have to demonstrate on a later video. What was the question? Oh yeah, how do you find the light? Gosh, this is so us. It's so funny.
You know, we're here all night. Bad
Yeah.
jokes.
Seriously. So I think that Kat says you look to the lamp. Tell me, lamp, bring me to the light. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. How did I find the light? You know, I just moved through the darkness. It was like I kept asking myself the question, is this mine? Because as an empath, you know, Jodie, that like as an empath, you tend to take on other people's emotions, their vibrations, you're like feeling the world. And you know, that feeling can be so, it's like a big, wet, moldy blanket. You know, it's like,
so heavy.
It's so heavy, right? And so I had to keep asking, you know, is this yours? Is this yours? Is this yours? And the answer I kept getting was, yes, this is yours. This is your shit, Heather. Like, you have to work through this. And so I just said, okay, I accept it for being mine. I choose love instead. I choose love instead. And so I just kept looking at it like I'm just going to keep choosing love, and eventually there will be something. And the something was, it came in the form of my husband saying, I'm happy to hold the space for you for as long as it takes, but I'm getting tired. And it really was like, wow, like my wet, hot, moldy blanket is now being tossed on other people into my life. You know, I'm dragging them under the blanket with me. And I said, you know, I choose love and therefore I choose differently, not just for me, but for him too. Like, how beautiful that he held this space for me. It's over now. I choose to see the light. And so I started really focusing on things that were beautiful. You know, I started looking for things that were beautiful. I'd look at the sky, you know, it'd be blue sky, sunny out, maybe like one puffy cloud floating by, just doing its thing. I'd see like a, you know, ladybug over on the plant. And I'm like, wow, how magical is it that we are living in a place where so many species coexist,
Yeah,
mostly in harmony. And so I
Absolutely.
really focused on that. And that was very helpful, you know, to see that, like, hey, this whole thing exists, like, in favor of me. Like right now, this ladybug is here just for me. Woo! Thanks. You know?
It showed up just for me. I love that. And I feel the same. I think we I guess I can only speak for myself, but I have in the past chastised myself for feeling anything, especially the negative. It's okay. It's okay by societal standards that you feel good. You put a smile on your face, like, shape up, girl. I would hear, like, be tough and just be happy. You should be grateful for all the things that you have. And um, for me, going through it, I I went down the darker path maybe at the beginning instead of waiting, and it started with really understanding. I wanted to understand some fundamentals, and it was actually around money. I felt like I didn't understand how some monetary policy worked or fiscal policy. So it was a very, like, educational approach, like, I'm going to learn. And then that led me to researching corruption or researching, the past and what has happened, and all of these things, and downloading more information. And a lot of it, um, at the beginning, was really messed up. Like, how can this be possible? How can I not see this? How could I not understand this? Especially the money part of things, like a decade in finance, and I didn't understand this. And um, to know that, very few people understand those specific details of how things actually work was comforting, but still it was dark, and I couldn't believe the darkness that I was seeing. And for me, it was the one reminder of everything is always happening for a reason. God wouldn't put me here, I don't believe, if I wasn't ready for this experience, ready to see this, ready to feel this, or to move through it.
Mhm.
I
Totally.
trust in that. I trust in the fact that every time I've been through a lot in my life, and I've gotten through it. I've gotten to this point. I'm still alive. Look at me. You know, I'm great, right? And the last thing is that my life has always been better. Every single thing that I thought was a tragedy while I was going through it, looking back on those events, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to go through them, for all the things that I learned. And then I did exactly what you were talking about, Heather, literally going outside and looking for the light, looking for the love in the world. I remember driving, we have a path to our garden because we live on this giant acreage, giant piece of land. It's not even an acreage, I don't think, by definition. And I remember driving the quad, and I wish I had video of this. Um, but these, oh, what are they called? Dragonflies. I've never seen a copper dragonfly before. And I'd only seen, like, the blue ones, whatever, like the bluish purple ones. I'd never seen a copper one. And in,
Wow.
yeah, in the field,
So
and so
wait,
the
hold on. Not to cut you off, but so it's copper, not red.
copper,
Wow.
copper color, like the penny, like that copper. It was just
Amazing.
beautiful color, right? And there's a path in the middle, and then there's tall grass on either side. And all of a sudden I'm driving, and there's thousands of them going in a wave following me. And I just, like, I got the shivers just now, just thinking about how beautiful the world is. Really, when you look at it, how much light, how much love, like, it was, I felt the divine message from God to open up your eyes and see through the darkness, see the beauty, and transform all of that. And really, I stepped into my purpose and my power to educate people about this stuff, to disconnect their, you know, relationship or the handcuffs that they'd given to money, and move forward in this abundance presence. And I had to feel it first so that I could teach it. So I did, you know, exactly what you're talking about. Look for the light.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And I think that that's, I think that as people navigate through, this crazy time. I think that if people really focus on the things that bring them joy and the things that make them feel, happy or whole or complete, I think that they'll find that, there's a lot of light even when the world is really dark.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
it's interesting. I was thinking about, like, I wonder because, we both work in, ooh, I wonder because, we both work in, like, creating or manifesting, right? And we both have worked with Quinn on creating and manifesting.
Your
And
husband.
I was thinking, yes, and he's, like, so brilliant. What a wonderful gift in all of our lives. Thank God he's here. Um, so I have, like, this little tickly itch right here on my face. So I'm just going to give it a little scratch. And I think hopefully it goes away now. What I was thinking about creating and manifesting is, wouldn't it be extraordinary if we arranged somehow, I'm just putting it out here to the universe, wouldn't it be extraordinary if we could arrange the whole world or a good portion of the world to create the same idea, the same manifestation all at once of a completely different environment? One that's peaceful, one that's bliss, one that's just beautiful in all aspects, that's maybe, less
Freedom.
polarity,
Yep.
freedom, you know, different, different, clean, you know? I just think it would be extraordinary if we as a human race, souls incarnate on this crazy planet that we're on right now, came together to have a united moment of clarity and to just manifest together all at once, like the perfect place.
Ooh.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah. I mean, if people are interested in doing this, we can pull the whatever resources need to be pulled to bring this together. But I think it's great. So if you're feeling it, definitely comment and let us know
Definitely.
if you would like to do and share and be a part of, because you know, it is all up to us. We are creating the world we see in front of us. So why not? And two heads are better than one. When you get energy together, it multiplies and, it snowballs into this ginormous thing. So why not bring as many people as we can in the world together at one moment in one time to create freedom and peace and calm and just set the intention to call forward this new earth.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think that would be just extraordinary, And the thing is that, you said it perfectly. It's we essentially energetically create the reality that we are in. So why not create a new reality?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Jump
if it's
into it.
all energy anyway, can't we just
Yeah.
create a new one? Right? Like, if we all
Yeah.
get really energetically attuned to one another and we're like, woo, let's do it. Let's bring in this, like, epic new planet. Like, why not?
What are we waiting for?
I know. We'll have to have Quinn on sometime to talk about this so that, because I know that he's up to big things. And, I think that he would definitely have some opinions for sure.
Yes.
And maybe some ideas on how we could maybe pull this off.
Hmm. Absolutely.
We'll have to ask him.
All right, we will. We'll ask him,
Mhm.
and then you will just give him the love tap.
I was just thinking, I'm like, it's so funny that you said that because I was like, we are married. If he doesn't come willingly, maybe I could take him by force. No, I'm just kidding. No, just kidding. It's always
Or
willingly.
through other measures.
There are those other measures.
Exactly. Ah, amazing.
Oh,
I would love to have a conversation about connection to, your higher self, connection to guides, things like that. Um, because if people are feeling alone right now, the reality is that you're never alone. Oh,
totally.
one, because you have this guide team, like your higher self, your master guide, as well as like archangels and all of these other beings that are around. And even outside of that, we're all connected divinely to one another. We are all one. Um, so you're never really alone. But, in your perspective, how do you open up to feel that, Heather? Like, to the good, to the light.
Well, I mean, the reality is you're absolutely right. You're never alone. Okay. You have every incarnate soul on earth has a high self of some kind. Okay. And, I had a spiritual teacher very early on who described it so perfectly. And this is I'm going to use her description because it's so easy and it's something that we all can really relate to. So you have an iPod. Okay. We will imagine that this is the iPod. I'm assuming everyone can see that. So this is the iPod, right? And this iPod represents us, the soul incarnate in the human body. Okay. And the iPod plugs into a computer. Well, imagine this is a computer, right?
Yep.
This is your high self. Okay. So you've got your iPod that plugs into your computer. And then you have I need another object, a coaster. This is the iTunes cloud, right? So you're kind of plugging in this way. Your iPod plugs into your computer that plugs into the cloud, right? Where all the music is stored.
Yep.
So the way that it works, how I see it and how she explained it to me, and which I think is just such a brilliant way to explain it, is as we are all the iPod, we plug into our high self, who is receiving information back and forth from the cloud, which is source, God, our one infinite creator, right? Yeah. So this is the database. This is where all knowledge is stored. Everything that is anything that ever was or ever will be is stored right here. Yep. We have a link to that right here, right? Yep. So if you start communicating here, you actually have access to this, right? So it's like this really cool little cord that connects you to your high self, and your high self connects to this mainframe computer that has all information about everything. Mm-hmm. So how do you do it? You just ask. Hey, high self, how's it going today? Anything you want to share with me? And then you shut up and you listen. And the thing is that, it's so funny. One of the things that like really gets like pushed out every time I channel for somebody individually, the being that we're talking to always comes back to the meditation. And so when I think of like prayer versus meditation, okay, a lot of people are raised in organized religion, no problem. Okay, they were taught to pray, right? Dear God, please, bring me the money that I need to pay my bills this week. Okay. God goes, I got the order via your higher self that you sent up. Okay. Yeah. The meditation is when we quiet our mind. God says, hey, I've got the download. Computer goes, ooh, I'm receiving the signal. I'm sending it on to the little iPod. And you sit there and you be quiet and you listen and you receive the answer. So praying is you're sending in your order. Meditation is you're receiving the answer.
I love that. That's so good. So
So
good.
really, if people want to connect to their high self, they just have to meditate, get
Yeah,
quiet and listen.
yeah. And I found that you're doing it already. I always relate it to like the gut instinct, go this way, get away from there, look over there, reminds me of I was on the phone with you, Heather, the other day, and I was driving down the road and I was doing something and I looked down and I was like, oh, I had the sense urgency to look up and there was like a baby skunk trying to cross the road and I would have
Okay.
definitely hit it. It was going to be awful for not only the skunk, but for me and my nose. And it would have just been epically bad. And that's your higher self. That's your gut. That's you, the system that you were just talking about, talking to you, me downloading questions now in my abundance consciousness business. I would do that in all of the businesses and in everything that I would do. I just didn't realize who I was talking to. Like, I didn't realize that that's where the information was being sourced from. And I mean, I think people struggle too about listening to that. Oh, can I trust myself? Can I believe it? Or is it the ego? Or maybe it's something darker than that. And I have some thoughts on what that looks like, but I would love to hear yours.
I mean, here's the thing. If it's of the light, it's going to be positive or neutral. If it is of polarity or even of ego, it's going to come with a lot of conditions. It may feel like the world is ending, or you may get negative information, or you know that can't be trusted, or it'll instill a feeling of fear.
Mhm.
If you're getting fear from the answer, it's not your high self talking to you. Your high self is going to be like, yo, lady, love and light, so, or it'll just be, hey, this is the information that you're looking for, and it'll be very neutral. Even when I was receiving information about a very dark time in my life, it was always guiding me back to better. It was always guiding me to better. And even though it felt very, the best term for it is bittersweet, right?
Mhm.
It's bitter as hell when you're going through it, and it's so sweet afterwards because you're like, man, I'm glad I went through that because I'm in such a better place now. So, and you touched on that earlier, and I think that when you're receiving information that is of light and that is meant to guide you, it's going to be more positive or just neutral. It will never be of fear, ever.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
what do
right.
you think? Do you kind of see
I
it that
I
way?
completely agree. I know that I have felt, the ego, clarity, the light, and the ego was like a fast talker, like da 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 da, like. And I mean, even when I channel the ascended masters that I channel or the 5D guides that I channel, there's a lot of information, but it's not this hurried, get
Right.
it out fast. And like the polarity, what I felt was pressure and fear, like you're like this hammering feeling of like heart setting, go fast. And it took a while for me even to even hear my high self, to be honest. When I wanted, I have this question for you, high self, I'd like you to answer. And I'd be sitting there like crickets, you know, nothing was showing up, or not. I wasn't hearing anything. So I needed to be patient and allow it to happen. And it was so interesting because when I started this journey of channeling, my car was that place where I would always receive these downloads. And it's probably because I wasn't trying so hard. I had no expectation. I wasn't like, give me it now. I need to know right now what the information is. I was just, I loved driving in my car. I was doing something that I enjoy. So I think for people, if they're struggling to receive any information from their higher self, go and do something you enjoy and pay attention for those little nudges, that whisper that's like, yes, you're on the right track, or go this direction, or do that, and you'll feel this like pull instead of like a push. That's how my anyway.
Yeah, totally. And you know, the thing is and you said it perfectly, you know, the whisper, right? If it's
Yeah.
shouting at you, dude, that ain't it.
Probably not good.
No,
And you
no.
might feel it too. Do you? I mean, we've never talked about this before, but do you feel it? I feel it somewhere in my gut. Something when I listen to other people, I'm always filtering information now. I don't read a whole lot of books anymore because I want to keep my channel pure. I don't want to take. I know how easily it is to connect to someone else's channel and you know take their information, not meaning to, or take on even their ideologies or their belief systems or their feelings, their emotions, their vibration. So I'm always filtering and like checking essentially where that's coming from. Is it me? Is that the light? Especially when I rely on that source for information. And I remember doing this just recently, hearing somebody talking about something specific and feeling off, like just in the middle of my core, just I don't know. I Something feels off. Do you get that feeling too, Heather?
Yeah, and I mean, I would say that that like sort of like internal gut feeling, that is like your intuition. That is like the seat of your soul telling you, I don't know about that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's not right. You know, when I receive like information like from my high self, for example, it usually will come in as like a very subtle idea. It'll be like um, if I'm leaving the house. I can't tell you how many times this has happened. Like, I can't even count how many times this has happened. And every time, it totally gets me. So, when I get ready to leave the house, the first thing that pops up is, do I have everything that I need? And I'll sit there for a minute at the door, keys in hand, ready to go. And I will go, are you forgetting anything? Do you have everything? And then instead of like letting my like intuition tell me or my high self tell me, my brain kicks into overdrive and it's like, you've got this, you've got this, you've got this, you've got all these things, and you've got your list, so you're good. And I'm like, okay, I'm good, and out the door I go. But really, my high self and my intuition was going, hey, psst, you're forgetting something.
Yeah.
And then I get wherever I'm going, and I'll be like 45 minutes away from the house, and I'll be like, God, I forgot that thing. you know? So,
You
it's
also, sorry to
definitely
interrupt you, Heather, you also
no.
have this really great knack for finding things, which is amazing. If you've
Oh
lost
yeah.
keys or someone else, I know people have actually lost things specifically and then called you to retrieve them. I think that's
Mhm.
hilarious.
Yeah, it's and I never really knew what it was, but I saw this really cool show called what was that show called? It was called tell me the name of the show. Was it it's like right on the tip of
Superhuman?
my tongue. Superhuman. Yes, thank you. Yeah, Superhuman. I didn't even know what that was, truly, until I saw that show. And it's actually called Remote Viewing. So good. I hear this whole time, like my whole life, I've been able to do this. I've been able to find all kinds of crazy things. Like I just like really tune into it and I'm like, okay, thing, where are you? And I'm like, show me where the thing is. And then it's like, I just sit there and it's like, I'm thinking about the thing. And then I see like where the thing is. It's bitchin'. I'm not
It's
gonna lie.
so cool.
It's pretty
It's
cool.
just
It's pretty cool. But you know,
never
the, the thing
go ahead.
is everybody can do it.
Yeah,
Everyone can do it. It's
absolutely.
available.
They actually, I read this in a book a long time ago that the CIA or the FBI or like something like that uses whatever you want to call them, people that remote view into different compounds so that they can sketch out the area, and like this is legitimate stuff. I've been able to do it not with things but places and people. Heather and I have done it together before. We're like, okay, tell me what this person looks like, or like you know describe the place that I'm thinking in my mind. It's just fun to play these games of how can you build this muscle that you're naturally born with. You're given these abilities for a reason. And I think society has shut a lot of or shuttered a lot of that connection that we have. And I mean, it's time to get it back. These are beautiful tools that you can use in your life to find stuff, to view
Totally.
places. Like it's magical. You are a magical being that has all of these superpowers. You watch, these movies with superheroes. You are your very own superhero. So,
Totally.
try. Yeah,
Totally.
absolutely. Just love it.
One
Um,
of these days we should have like some kind of workshop,
ooh,
like like a like an ability workshop.
look at
Like
that.
we're going to teach this crazy ability today. We're going to teach you how to like remote view, or today we're going to teach you how to. Wouldn't that be fun?
That'd be so much fun. Look at that
That'd be
gentle
fun.
nudge just coming in slowly.
Yep. There's the
To be
whisper.
honest, exactly. To be honest, that's how I created my 2 signature courses. It was this gentle nudge and then this download of all of these ideas, and then like feverishly writing them all down and then putting them together in a way that a human could understand it all. But it made
Exactly.
it's so beautiful. And I know that you do some of that for people, channel people's programs for them. Like, why not let God tell you what to put in your program as an entrepreneur? Right? Like, it makes
Totally.
absolutely. If you don't feel that you have the capacity to channel on that scale, details or whatever, then utilize people like Heather. So amazing. She's just
Totally.
gifted.
We're both gifted.
Yes. Yeah. Thank thank you. I take that.
Mhm.
I take that.
I know you totally downplay your channel. Like it's kind of silly, actually.
I
Oh, hey, you know what I wanted to say? I wanted to say, and I almost forgot. I wrote it down in the comment without actually sending it to the comments, because it's not relevant to anybody but me. But I wanted to touch on when you were, what were you talking about? You're talking about when you're receiving like messages from your high self,
Mhm.
that pressure that you feel that's like, I got to go, I got to do, I got to get it done right now, that's not your high self. And the reason why that's not your high self is because time doesn't exist on the other side. So there's no hurry.
Yeah.
There's never a hurry.
There's never a hurry. No.
No urgency at all whatsoever.
And you have the ability to slow it down or speed it up in this plane. I mean,
Totally.
we have Heather and I have countless examples of that happening. You have 2
Totally.
minutes to get ready and get to work, and it's 20 minutes away, and you get there early after showering and blow drying your hair. Not physically possible when you live in the third dimensional constructs that we create for ourselves, but on another plane, completely possible. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Oh, I love
Mm-hmm.
it. It's so amazing. Well, is there any final thoughts on higher self, connecting, polarity division, anything like that that you want to say? before we?
I mean,
before
I
it's out?
think the thing that I really want to like bring home for everybody is that you have the ability to choose, right? We are souls incarnate, fragments of the creator itself, himself, herself, however you see itself. We have the ability to create the reality that we want to live in. So even though you might be feeling alone, and even though things may feel really dark, this is the greatest time ever to create a new reality, because it's going to stand in such contrast of the current reality that it will be nothing but a beacon of light for the whole world to see. So I think the thing that people need to remember, those who are watching, all of you that are listening right now, is be the light that you want to see in the world. And remember that you're connected to everyone and everything that's in it. And as long as you remember that you're the light and that you're connected, it will just evoke massive change.